British boxer John Ryder returns to the ring after losing his chance to become a 4-belt world champion. The one handing him the crushing defeat was none other than Canelo Alvarez. Now standing in his way is the determined Mexican Jaime Munguia. However, Munguia means business and is set to send his head into orbit just like his fellow countryman had. This undefeated beast also gears up to take a world title soon. This is what led up to this fight. Charlo's the aim. Jaime Munguia was born on October 6, 1996 in Tijuana, Mexico. Like many places in Mexico throughout the late 1990s, the border town of Tijuana was quickly becoming a less than ideal place for the growth of a child. It's a town that earned a reputation of one that tests family ties and has no doubt been racked by violent crime. Regardless, Munguia kept his head down and went through school without being pulled by the allure of San Diego over the border for one thing. It wasn't long before he discovered his interest in boxing in his teenage years. Over time, he found that boxing really suited him, and off he went to compete in the amateur ranks. Through his amateur journey, he traveled around Mexico and earned bronze and gold medals at his national tournaments. Unfortunately, detailed records of his amateur career could not be found on the internet. What we know for sure, however, is that he has an extensive amateur background, unlike many young middle-class Mexicans like him. This was all before he came of age to participate in the qualifiers for the 2012 Olympics. Since he narrowly missed his opportunity while having a vast wealth of amateur experiences, he decided to go pro shortly after. He explained, "I didn't want to pursue my amateur career any longer. I wanted to turn pro." Thus, he started in 2013, being one of the youngest to start off pro who were still fighting. His early career was full of easy pickings for him. As his coach Noe Alvarez explains, guys simply can't take his punches. He compiled a record of 28-0 before challenging for the WBO junior middleweight title. On May 12, 2018, Munguia beat American Saddam Ali for the WBO light middleweight title. He defended his title several times, including against former light middleweight champion Liam Smith, Brandon Cook, and mandatory challenger Dennis Hogan. But then it was decided that he would move up in weight to face a more competitive and star-studded ladder. After his victory against Patrick Alote, Munguia vacated his WBO light middleweight title and moved up to middleweight. He won his middleweight debut against Gary O'Sullivan on January 11, 2020. In his second bout at middleweight, Munguia faced Toriano Johnson and won the WBO Intercontinental middleweight title. In 2021, Munguia faced former world title challenger Kamil Sharameta and won the fight via 6th-round court in retirement. 2021 and 2022 were proved to be years of total domination for him, as all of his opponents were sent home with knockouts and forced retirements. Only his 2023 bout against the formidable Sergey Derevchenko forced him to go all 12 rounds to end with a decision victory. He has recently expressed a desire to fight Jermell Charlo and claim the WBC world middleweight title. It's also an opinion expressed by many observers who feel that someone of Jaime Munguia's caliber deserves to fight stronger and more formidable opponents. Longtime boxing veteran and fellow Mexican Sergio Mora explained, "History doesn't lie. If you look at the last couple of years of Munguia's resume, these are tough guys, kind of gatekeepers, but they're not champions. So we're hitting that path." From then on, it's probably a few steps into eventually scoring the biggest fight of his career, a fight against none other than Canelo Alvarez. As of now, Munguia maintains an undefeated record of 42 wins, with 33 of these victories achieved by knockout. His knockout-to-win ratio stands at 78%, which makes him one of the most powerful and formidable prospects currently active. Not only does John Ryder have a hard fight ahead of him, but Munguia himself is definitely destined for widespread fame. John Ryder licks his wounds. John Ryder, also known as the Gorilla, was born on July 19, 1988 in Islington, London, England. Islington has been known for bringing out and presenting the best in British amateur boxing, thereby making his birth there just right for him. While he carried on with school and education just like any child like himself, his passion for boxing emerged at a young age, leading him to becoming a successful professional boxer. As an amateur, Ryder fought for Angel Amateur Boxing Club in his birthplace of Islington. During his amateur career, he won 30 fights out of 35. He also won 2 ABA National Senior Novice Championships and the Northwest London Divisional Middleweight title. After finishing his education, John Ryder turned professional on September 10, 2010 at the age of 22. Ryder's first professional fight was against Ben Degani, which he won by a first-round technical knockout. The 3 next years after his debut were spent taking out all the British contenders that came up against him, and he did so with great ease. Eventually, the time came for him to take the British belt, and defending this belt was none other than Billy Joe Saunders. Saunders gave him his very first check in his career. Despite a close match, Ryder lost by unanimous decision as Saunders' technicality was too much for him to overcome. but he would win a regional championship pretty soon anyway. This was the WBO Intercontinental Middleweight title, which he won on October 11, 2014 by defeating Theophilus Teta via 5th-round TKO. He then made a successfully impressive defense against Billy Facundo Godoy the next year. It seemed that his career was doomed to oscillation, as he would end up losing his regional title to Nick Blackwell, along with the chance to capture the British middleweight title that Billy Joe Saunders defended from him. Despite being ahead on the scorecards, Ryder was stopped by Blackwell in the 7th round. Nevertheless, Ryder won his second regional championship, the vacant WBA International Middleweight title, with a unanimous decision over Sergey Kamitsky on January 30th, 2016. His career progression remained slow, without being noticed much and without having held onto a regional championship belt for long. While he was twice challenged for the British super middleweight title, it included a controversial split decision loss to Rocky Fielding on April 22, 2017. The second of his big shots against Billy Joe Saunders came in 2019, when he was scheduled to fight Callum Smith for the WBA title right after defeating Bilal Akwi for an interim title. He had to win this if he wanted to start breaking into the big numbers, but he failed. It was a brutal fight that saw both fighters cut above the eyes, but Ryder lost. And most recently, after an impressive victory against Zach Parker, he had his biggest test of all, a fight against none other than Canelo Alvarez. On May 7, 2023, Ryder bravely fought against Saul Alvarez, but lost by unanimous decision. Clearly, it hasn't been a straightforward upward trajectory for Ryder, as his defeats have proven to be costly in terms of the opportunities they have cost him. He's been defeated 5 times, and for a time, seemed destined to stay in domestic boxing after 3 defeats in British title fights. Despite all these, though, he remains in the game with dogged determination, and he isn't going to let Jaime Munguia bungle up his shot at another opportunity similar to the one he got against Canelo Alvarez. Buzzing to be here. It's great to be here. Involved in another big fight, he added. It's a shot at redemption. It was great to put it all on the line against Canelo Alvarez, and I'm willing to do the same against Jaime Munguia. So far, he's had a total of 38 fights with 32 wins and 6 losses. Fighters compare. Reiterating Noah Alvarez's characterization of why Jaime Munguia is so dominant, Munguia is definitely known for being a powerful and strong puncher. His left hook is particularly strong, and it usually follows a long series of jabs that hurt quite a lot. Indeed, staying true to the Mexican style is made famous by the likes of Julio Cesar Chavez. He's a forward-fighting boxer that always keeps his opponents under serious pressure. His victory over Ali was a particularly brutal beatdown. Munguia moved so fast with his attacks that Ali was left visibly shaken after the KO victory was clear. In his fight against Brandon Cook, Munguia was absolutely pummeling Cook, with that left hook repeatedly landing with blunt force. These punches landing on Cook's abdomen left Cook reeling over, putting him out of action. As such, Munguia's knockout-to-win ratio stands at 78%, which stands as a clear demonstration of his raw power. This is why he's considered to be one of the best and most dedicated prospects currently active, underscoring the need for him to fight an opponent like Charlo soon. John Ryder, on the other hand, is all about a more balanced approach in fighting with the strength of his body when it's necessary and when it's advantageous for him. The fact that he fights from a southpaw stance helps him along. Despite his more tactical approach, he's well known for his strength, earning him the nickname, the Gorilla. His stamina, however, has often come up short in supporting his gorilla body while also giving his tactical mind enough fuel. This can be attributed to the reason for some of his most important losses that otherwise would have been resounding victories. However, when the combination does work, he becomes a terrifying opponent. Bilal Akwi faced it firsthand when he lost to Ryder rather quickly. All in all, though, Ryder has a more balanced record with a mix of wins by knockout and decision. In summary, Munguia is known for his aggressive power-punching style, while Ryder is recognized for his strength and balanced approach. But it appears that John Ryder's best years are well past him, or at least most of them. He may have to end up paving the way for Jaime Munguia's rise to the top. But what do you think? Will Jaime Munguia smash his way into the mainstream and tear up the ring? Or will John Ryder get back on track after his loss to Canelo? Leave us a like and subscribe. We'll see you again when the dust settles on the canvas.